So yesterday we looked at the Fibonacci number sequence, and today we're going to be doing some more work on number patterns and sequences. A number pattern is a sequence of numbers that follow a certain rule. This is a number pattern: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're starting with a simple one. The rule is that each time you add 1, so there is the number pattern 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and as you can see, to get from 1, you add 1 and that makes it 2, and then you add another 1 to get to 3. If we add 1 to 3, we get to 4, we add 1 to 4, we get to 5, and we can actually work out that the next number in this sequence, because we're adding 1, would be 5 add 1, which makes 6. So let's have a look at another one and work out what is happening each time. 5, 10, 15, 20. The numbers are getting bigger as we move to the right. The numbers are ascending in size. They're getting bigger. What do you do to get from 5 to 10? Have a think. You add 5. To get from 10 to 15, add 5. And so on. Can you work out what the next number would be? Well done if you got that right. Can you work out what the next number would be? Well done if you got that right. The next number? What would the next number be? It would be 40. Number sequences can use addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Each rule can include whole numbers or decimal numbers. Let's look at some trickier sequences this time. Can you finish this number sequence? 48, 47, 45, 42. Well, you should notice that this time the numbers are getting smaller as we move to the right. How much smaller from 48 to 47? 1. You take away 1 to get from 48 to 47. Now, what can we take away to get from 47 to 45? 2. What happens to get from 45 to 42? You take away 3. So whenever you're trying to work out the next numbers in a number sequence, this is really important, this step. You have to work out what the pattern is by working out how you get from one number to the next one. And you keep going so that you can then work out the two missing numbers. So hopefully you'll have worked out that in the next one, we have to take away 4, because we took away 1, then we took away 2, then we took away 3, then we took away 4, and the answer is 38. Can you think about what you would take away next? Now think about what the answer might be. Let's see if you were right. Take away 5, and the answer is 33. Now, can you figure out the missing numbers and the rule in these sequences? So there's 13, 17, 21. The numbers are getting bigger, aren't they, as we move from the left to the right? They are increasing, they are getting greater. So remember we said that the first thing we would do, we would work out what do we add to get from 13 to 17? We add 4. What do we add to get from 17 to 21? Oh, we add 4. So what will our next number be? Well, we'll continue the sequence and we'll add 4. So it should be 25. And then if you continue that, you would add 4 again to 25 and you'd get 29. Now, this next one is harder. We've got 95, then a gap. Then we've got 75 and then a gap. then we've got 55, 45 and a gap. So it's probably easier to start with the two numbers that are together, 55 and 45. Now, remember, it starts at 95 and the numbers get smaller. So to get from 55 to 45, what would you actually do? You think? I'll give you a clue. To take away. So how much would you take away to get from 55 to 45? You would take away 10, wouldn't you? So let's see if taking away 10 from 95, what would that give us? Have a think. Yes, it would give you 85. And then if you continue the pattern, taking away 10 each time, the numbers would be 65 and 35. Okay, well done. Now the bottom one is decimal sequence. And if you think about this in terms of money, because we have worked on money, it would be £10, 10p, £11, 20p, £12, 30p. And then we've got 2 blanks and £15, 60p. So this is more of a spiciest one. Don't worry about this one if you find this one a bit too tricky. Okay. However, ask yourself first of all, are the numbers getting greater as we move from left to right? Yes, they are. Now your next step is to work out the missing numbers, to think about how much. Again, like I said, don't worry about this one. It is a bit tricky. Just going to give you some time for those people who might be able to work it out. Well, you would add 1.1, or if it was in terms of money, £1, 10p each time. And that's why you would have as the missing answers 13.4 and 14.5, or in terms of money, £13.40 and £14.50. So let's look at these even trickier number patterns. Can you figure out the missing numbers and the rule in these sequences? Now again, let's work through these 3 steps. First of all, starting with 2, do the numbers get larger or smaller as we move along? They get larger. Now, can we work out what the pattern might be? What's the difference between 2 and 4? It's 2, isn't it? It's the difference between 4 and 8. What do you add to 4 to make 8? It's 4, isn't it? Oh, I've noticed something. What do you add to get from 8 to 16? It's 8. So first of all, we add 2, then we add 4, then we add 8. Have you worked it out? So each time you're doubling. We add 2 to get from 2 to 4. We double 2, which is 4, so we add 4 to get from 4 to 8. And then we double the 4 and we add 8 to the other 8 to get to 16, and so on. So the rule is to double the number, okay? Now don't worry if you found these a bit tricky. These are more like spiciest ones, okay? So let's look at the next one. 800, and we've got a missing number, 200, 150. Ask yourself, are the numbers getting smaller or larger as we move along? They're getting smaller, aren't they? Now, let's pick 2 numbers that are close together. So it's 200 and 100. What would we subtract to get from 200 to 100? It'd be 100, wouldn't it? What would we subtract to get from 100 to 50? That would be 50. 50 is half of 100. And that's why 425 are the missing numbers, because each time you half or divide by 2. So half of 800 is 400, half of 400 is 200, and you keep halving as you go along. Okay, and finally this one here. 10, 17, 20, 27, 30. Are the numbers getting greater or smaller? They're getting greater, aren't they? Can you work out the pattern? Have a think. You've got 5 numbers next to one another, and if you had a piece of paper, you could write down, do your working out, work out what you're adding each time. Because it's clearer when you do the working out on the paper. So this was an unusual one. to get from 10 to 17, you add 7. But then to get from 17 to 20, you add 3. And it's that actually is the pattern. You add 7 and then you add 3, and that is constantly repeating. So then you go from 20 to 27 and you add 7, and then you add 3 to get from 27 to 30. You then go back to adding 7 to get from 30 to 37, and you add 3 to get from 37 to 40. Can you think for this one what the next number would be in the sequence or pattern? I'll give you a clue. Because we just added 3, we would now need to add 7 to 40. That's right, the answer would be 47. There's actually a pattern, isn't there, as well, because we've started at 10. You've got a 0 in the ones and then a 7, a 0 and then a 7, a 0 and a 7. That kind of helps you to work out that pattern as well.